Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ariel, or Flying Pasta Kitty, and I'm back here with another video. So today I actually wanted to do a story time. The problem is lately I've been trying to remember a good story that happened that isn't really depressing. So the problem is I've had a rough childhood and just a rough life all around. And this story will be a great example of that. But I always came out on top of it. But the reason I actually want to tell this story today is because, well, there was this subreddit video. You know those YouTube shorts? Well, there was part of a subreddit video called what are you still salty about? And if you don't know what that means, what are you still mad about? Like something you're just still mad about. And of course, I was reading through the comments, and there were a lot of good ones. And the video was a few seconds long, and it did have a couple that were right, like less than 60 seconds or something. So I decide, okay, what is something I'm still mad about? So I decide to comment on something that, well, yeah, I'm still salty about this. I'll probably show you a screenshot of the comment I left. Well, that comment had about, I think, 1,000, 2,000 likes and about almost 100 replies to it. So I actually wanted to tell this story because, well, that comment got a lot of views. And if that YouTube short is still there, I'll leave a link to that in the description below or the pinned comment, depending on what I do. So I'll leave a screenshot, maybe blur out the comment, because that'll just give away the whole story in less than 10 minutes. But, yeah. So, to give some context to this story, this was a story about pretty much just why my senior year was horrible. But I have to go back to 2015 to give some context, alright? So, I'll make a quick timeline to the best of my abilities. So, alright, to give some context, July 5th of 2015, my mother has a stroke. And if you don't know what a stroke is, it's not a good thing. It can happen at any time. So, I'm going to leave I'll leave a screenshot on the screen of what a stroke is to show you what that is. Well, my mom has a stroke. She's misdiagnosed as having a migraine, which, trust me, migraines are very different than strokes, my good friend. So she's misdiagnosed by this hospital, by some educated idiot who is a doctor, just tells her, oh, you're having a migraine. Newsflash, migraines don't cause numbness in your arm. I just want you to know that. Medically. That's not a thing. So, they deny my mom. They're like, oh, you're just having a migraine, da-da-da. Just take Tylenol and just go home, da-da-da. Probably thought she was a pain pill seeker, something like that. So this happens. My mom is pretty much blind and having memory loss and suffering from dizziness spells known as vertigo. And this sucks, alright? So she goes back after 3 days, finds out, oh, hey, no, you didn't have a migraine. You had a full-blown stroke. So she is left with permanent brain damage, vision issues now, because she regained back some of her sight after a few months of being on blood thinners, and things of that nature. Well, of course, in these 3 months, she's denied temporary disability, so we're not getting any money. We are pretty much broke all the time. Like, we're having to go to food pantries when my grandma would take us, or just getting food from people giving us food, right? Well, eventually, after 3 months of this, we're evicted. We are evicted from our home. We have nowhere to go despite us searching high and low because, hey, man, we don't have money. How are you going to get a place without money? And I tried getting a job, but that town wouldn't hire me. So it was a rough time, and we eventually end up leaving the night we're evicted. We leave around midnight, right? And we're in our car. We're pretty much going to end up living in our car for a while. Well, that plan fails miserably because the same night we get evicted and drive out, we get hit by a Jeep going 60 miles an hour, and it T-bones our car, totals our car, if anyone's wondering, none of us were really hurt. I did have some bruises and cuts. If I still have that photo, I can show you a picture of the bruise I had. So this bruise had, I had a bruise on my arm about the size of a baseball. And, and then, like, my leg muscle, for some reason, acted up. It had this weird thing where each time I tried to stand up, it would hurt real bad. I don't know. Maybe I bruised my thigh pretty bad, but I didn't see a physical bruise on it. But no, so the car was totaled. I actually had to climb out of the driver's side because I couldn't get out of the passenger side, and I was struggling to unbuckle my seatbelt. In fact, I was crawling out of the driver's side after my mom got out, and I'm like, and I told the firefighters, because they were the first ones to come and make sure, the car's not on fire and everything. The car was, totaled, but not on fire. So she's like, I tell them, I'm like, look, I'm struggling to get out of the car. I'm like, look, I know that I'm probably hurt. I know the adrenaline is going through my veins, and I'm probably not feeling how badly hurt I truly am. But boy, I'm hopping out of this car, and you are not going to stop me. You're not prying me out of this car. I can get out myself. And the firefighter just kind of shrugged and looked at me like, okay, yo, you're fine. Just do you do you, boo. And I'm like, all right. So with that incident happened, I was left injured. And eventually, all this ends up with us going to live in a motel that churches were paying for, thank goodness. Thank God for churches that helped us in the area, because the area that we were relocated to, they had a lot of churches. They don't have homeless shelters and that sort of thing. So we got money from churches and food from food pantries, and we were pretty much living in a bedbug infested motel for a very long time after that. Well, obviously, with this being in another town, I had to transfer to another school. This school is not a good school. So what happened is we go there, and this is where the story truly begins. So it's about 3 days into going to this new school. I don't really know anybody. Nobody really knows me. So I don't know if y'all know about this, but if you can't afford lunch, you get free and reduced lunch, I had filled out the form. The form takes a couple days to go through. So at this school, you can only charge your lunch 2 times. Third time, your lunch is taken and you given like a PB&J and whatnot or whatever. So I go there. I thought the form would have gone through by day 3. Apparently not. So it immediately, the lunch lady's computer immediately shows, yo, she's charged 2 times, deny her lunch, the 3rd time. Well, and because I've already touched this food and gotten it off the thing, they can't serve it again, so they'll have to throw it away, right? So this lunch lady, I apologized to her. I'm like, I'm sorry, man, my free and reduced lunch form must have not gone through, Sorry about that. I was trying to apologize to her about that. And, I'm homeless and all this at the time. And instead of being like, it's cool, I understand, just being chill about it, what does she do? She goes over the top and proceeds to just pretty much scream at me. She screamed at me in front of the entire lunchroom, making everyone go silent and look at me, and it's like only my 3rd day at this new school. So she yells at me, makes me cry, and I'm just like, look, I'm sorry, my form didn't go through. I've been living in a motel, She's like, I don't want to hear it, she just yells at me, keeps yelling and yelling louder and louder at me in front of that, throws away my lunch tray and all that. She doesn't care. Throws a PB&J at me and just keeps yelling at me. And, well, obviously I burst into tears and bawled hysterically at this. Because, I'm already having a rough enough time. Just coming there like mid-semester and all that. So, eventually, after that, I let the school know about this. And the school didn't care. The school was like, well, were you being rude or anything? No! I'm not rude to anyone. And you can ask, if I could gather the lunch ladies from other schools, they would tell you I'm not rude at all. Okay, I always try to be nice to the lunch ladies, okay? Because here's the thing, you can hate their food all you want, but the lunch ladies are usually friendly. They're always trying to be nice, at least in my experience. And I also understand they're doing a job that's very difficult. You have to make food for what? Like 100 people, more than that? You have to make sure everyone's fed. You have to make sure everything's cleaned. You got to move the boxes from the delivery. You got to do everything, you know? And you got to cook all this food, keep it warm, all that. Well, I understand that. So I'm always saying things like, please, thank you, have a nice day, I appreciate you. And I say these things also to anyone in the service industry, just about any job. I always try to be polite to everyone. Like, that is my goal, because being rude to people, okay, that's just horrible. I don't want to grow up and be a Karen, and I refuse to be a Karen. If I ever become a Karen, please shoot me. But the point is, she did this, right? So I go to the office after a while and let them know. And you know what they did? They didn't do anything. She was not reprimanded. She did not apologize, even though pretty much a majority of the school witnessed this happen, mind you. Because, like, literally when she yelled at me, the lunchroom went silent. Everyone stared at me. Everybody. All eyes were on me, which, you know, I was a person with anxiety and depression, going through hell and being homeless at the time. Hey, man, that's not cool. So this goes down, right? And I tell the school about it, and they don't care. They're like, well, you should apologize to her. I'm like, why? I didn't do anything. You know, it's like, and the lunch lady had accused me of giving attitude and being disrespectful. And I'm just like, she what? I was not anywhere disrespectful. She was disrespectful. And you know what really grated my nerves about this? The fact that the school made me apologize. That they were like, hey man, you should apologize. I'm like, for what? I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't do anything. And he's like, well, it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about being the bigger person. And then to be the bigger person, you should apologize even if you didn't do anything wrong, because it makes the situation better. See, this is the exact bullcrap that schools teach that I cannot stand. At least when I punched that boy in the face back in middle school, this was way before that, at least they didn't make me apologize, because, bro, they knew, one, that I'm not sorry, and two, that I didn't need to apologize. At least they knew that. So yeah, if you ever are in school and they want you to apologize for something that severe, don't. Don't do it. Stick to your guns on that. I'm not saying don't forgive anyone, but at certain situations, don't forgive people. And here's the thing. So after all that occurred, I ended up after that, the very next day, mind you, my lunch form went through and I got free lunch, right? And I'm angry. And the worst part is when I had to apologize to this lady, she just had this smug look on her face that I wanted to knock off. I just wanted to, you know? So she's had this smug look. And you know what's sad? I ended up, after all that, because, you know, I was just embarrassed in front of God and everybody, you know, and God only knows what people thought about me at that time, because again, I came there mid-semester, got screamed at by a lunch lady, and apparently from one of the people I talked to, they actually thought I was one of the teachers that worked there because I looked hella similar to this one teacher that taught foreign language. Apparently. I don't even know this teacher, but I did encounter her at one point. And yeah, we look very much alike, so chances are, yeah, that happened. So after that, I obviously was very depressed, very quiet, kept to myself. I would always eat lunch outside the library, mainly because I didn't know whether I was allowed to eat in the library or not. So I ended up sitting outside the library with my lunch, eating my lunch, staring at the ground, hoping no one would talk to me. You know, I was afraid to talk to anyone at that point because, again, I got screamed at by the lunch lady and I didn't want them to ask me about that. But no, that is something I'm actually still salty about. And honestly, I feel that my reasons are valid. And the worst part is, I actually saw the lunch lady who did this the other day. But the good news is, karma came back to bite her. She actually was divorced by her husband. Her husband left her. So that's one thing. And she's now working 3 jobs trying to get by. So you know what? I would say I feel sorry for her, but I don't. It was really frustrating when I went to the hardware store because I needed stuff for gardening. I needed like a fuel for my weed eater. And I'm like sitting there and I'm looking at her because she's the cashier. And I just have to force a smile and be happy. But deep down, I really just want to be like, hey, remember that terrible thing you did that made me cry and you never apologized? I would like an apology, please. And that's the biggest thing I'm still salty about. All right, I could have forgiven all of that if she had apologized. But no. All right? I'm angry about that. And I know that sounds childish. I know it does. Like, I'm 24 now, and I'm still angry and salty about this. And I get so mad when people are like, well, try to see it from her perspective and forgive her. No, I'm not going to forgive her. I'm going to continue to be salty about it. Years later, I'm sure she doesn't even remember doing this because it's been like 5-6 years now. But still, it was unnecessary and uncalled for. So, yeah, that is something I am still salty about to this day. And I will probably die being salty. So, got so much salt in me, the ocean envies me. But anyway, no, so that's it for this video. I want to say thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed, liked, and comment, or even just watched my videos. I really do appreciate the support I've been getting lately. I want to thank you guys so much for the 125 subscribers. I'm hoping to hit 150 by the end of the year, so if you'd like, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And thank you guys so much. Stay safe, stay hydrated. Just try to be a decent human being and be nice to one another. And take no one's crap. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!